Welcome to Smart Haus, a Pittsburgh podcast about smart technologies, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and the future. I'm your host, Dustin Dowling, and with me today is the host of the Drinking Partners podcast and one of the stars of the show of Ed and Day in the Burgh, ladies and gentlemen, Dave Bracey. Dave, I set that all up and I said Dave.
I was going to give you all the credit in the world. But at least you didn't call me Ed.
Wait. Dave Bracey, everybody. Yeah.
I mean, it's still better than Ed. That's usually what I'm called.
Yeah.
I mean, Ed too.
Yeah, that's terrible. I met you before Ed, so you get props. I think it's always funny. Like, I think I might at one point did a little of that, but we've known each other for almost 10 years, maybe more.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're going to get right into tech and stuff before we talk about our old relationship. Anyways, what are you packing today? What technology do you use throughout the day?
So I don't have, I don't really have like a laptop that I use all that much. So every year I upgrade my Samsung Galaxy. So this is the S22. And I just got a new watch, the Galaxy Gear 4. So fully upgraded. I'm an Android guy. I'm a pirate. So I need my technology to work for me and not me to work for the technology. So, iPhones are cool. I mean, I think iPhones are good for like ease of use. And like, if you want to scan across platforms with like, Macs and things of that nature or whatever. But, if you want to get to the content, if you want to jury rig and just kind of get whatever you need out of a phone, I feel like, the Samsungs, the Androids, just, it's more of a pirate's.
Yeah, you got that open source.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny though. You're like, I'm a little low tech, and you show me the brand new stuff, the nicest stuff, like crisp. I can see how nice that screen is because it looks clean, like super clean. But that's funny. But is there some kind of AI assistance that you talk to? Like I can talk to Siri on that or anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's called Bixby.
That's terrible.
It's terrible. I don't really do a lot. I every once in a while, like if I'm driving, I'll say, "Hey Google," and it'll like Google will give me directions or take me to some place. No, you don't. No, it's not a Bixby thing. That's the Samsung version of it. Okay. I mean, and then there's the Google version, within it and whatnot. But I rarely talk to it. It's mostly, I get it at home. I do. I have a Google Home. So
okay, you have a Google Home.
Yeah, so it'll like so I've got it connected to like my TV and my my lights and things of that nature.
You're way more techie than probably my other guests. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I like technology. I don't claim to know too much about it. I'm an end user, right? So I'm not like developing any of it, or anything like that.
Yeah, and I'm an end user too, correct. I'm not developing any of it, but I love developing my house. Just like you said, the lights and stuff, because I have my routines really set, especially with my, waking up my daughter and going to school. I love to say, "Hey Google, good morning," and it turns on certain television, certain lights. Same thing, I go to bed, thermostat, the whole thing. Yeah, freaking love it. Do you have your thermostat set up?
I do not. We're still very old school with that. You gotta dial.
How about cameras? You got any cameras?
No, not yet. Not quite yet. I mean, but we live in a neighborhood we barely even lock our doors. So I mean,
that's cool.
Still haven't gotten to that level yet.
Yeah. Well, I have to keep my eye on the kid. That's now. Before it was like keep an eye on the door. But now she's always going to hang out with her friends. That's going to make sure who's coming in and who's coming out. So that to get pretty crazy. This is just a completely different thing that happened this morning. I guess it could be tech because it's transportation. So I drive into the studio on Route 28 into Pittsburgh, and there's a lot of construction. And there's like any construction, there's that sign that says right lane ends in a mile. And as soon as people see that sign, they think it must read right lane ends now.
Right now.
Get over now. Get in line.
Everybody snails
in line.
pace.
And I saw that, and like I do not get in line. I am a merge at the merge point.
Yes.
So you are
merge
too,
at
right?
the merge point and zip.
Well,
zip America, zip Pittsburgh. It's a zipping situation. Listen, man, it's been proven. I mean, it's been proven by like German engineers or whatever, right? You got to believe the German engineers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they make all of the best engineering shit. But anyway, you got to merge, man. Like, that's all that lane is there for a reason. That's why they give you the sign. That's why they give you the extra space so that you can all merge at the merge point, man.
It is wild. I don't know what's wrong in these people's heads, but this is how crazy it was. This is how crazy it was. Maybe seconds, moments after that sign, the line's already started. And someone must see me in the rearview mirror. Guess what they do?
Did they middle it?
They swerved hard. I had to slam the brakes and lay on the horn. And so they were like, we don't like you. halfway down. Someone else did it. Same thing on the person in front of me. And now I'm behind this person. We're like team working. I'm like, I'm hitting the horn. He's whipping the other person off. I'm like, if you hit him or me, we're both coming at you. And I was so enraged. Like, I'm like, I'm talking about this on the show.
I mean, it's
talking about this on the show.
I've had like trucks and different cars like go into the lane and like do like a block routine.
Yeah, I had someone block me the whole way.
Like, yeah, they do the little block routine or whatever, and it's like for what? Like,
for what
is that? Like, what are you like what is going on in your life where you feel like this is your sworn duty? Your civilian duty to like block this lane for like the other,
and it's not even right. It's not even right. It doesn't help traffic.
It's not. It's not what the sign says. Like you're aggressively wrong.
Yes.
I mean, you're aggressively wrong.
So aggressively wrong. That's so funny. And it's this weird thing is like, you got to do what they're like missing their turn. I don't know. Maybe they think it's such like get in line and we're line cutting and don't understand. Like they're
the class snitches. They're the office snitches, right? You know what I mean? Like, because I've never understood office snitches. Nobody's paying you extra to snitch, Karen. You know what I mean? You don't get like a snitch bonus. You're not like collecting scalps at the end of the semester and they pay you per snitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like the only way for you to shine is by throwing other people under the bus in some way, shape, or form.
I never thought I would be someone that would get out of their car in a road, but there was a moment when it was me and the other guy. I was like, maybe this is the day.
Man, listen, I'm always ready to throw down if necessary. And I mean, that's just. I mean, it has not happened. I give the stern looks. I roll my window because I got tinted windows, so I got to roll my window down, and like I'll pull up next to somebody and roll their window down and give them the stern like what are you?
That's great. To try to wield this into tech, I would assume once they have automated cars and people aren't driving themselves, that wouldn't happen anymore. But I'm sure the people would still be in the seat without no steering wheel. They'd be the window guy now. They'd be like, hey. You're like yelling at Siri or Apple. It's like, hey, this person's just cutting in front of me. And Apple's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Disengage, override.
Yeah.
You can't let this override. Like, oh.
I'm so happy I brought that subject up because I needed to get it out. I was so angry on the road, and I appreciate. I
spend so much time. I live in Beaver, so like I got to commute.
You're the other way.
Down and like I used to work.
Rob's out that way. Our tech guy.
Yeah, I used to live in Beaver and then like commute like every day. I was working for CYF at the time, so I was commuting every day down 65, which is absolutely the worst. 28 is the second worst.
I was gonna say 65 is way worse.
65 is the absolute worst. The wild west of all of the the expressways or whatever, and it's just every day it was near death. Somebody was pulling out, somebody was stopping, somebody was doing some wild shit. There's potholes. There's just everything you could think of. They're throwing at you, and I mean the rage was. Wow.
And like since the pandemic, for me, like 28 people are more aggressive. I mean, like it's crazy for me to have a story where someone like tried to swerve at me, and then a minute later, another person swerving at me.
You know what? Wild. Like, if there's any silver lining to this COVID thing, it was the free trap. Like there was no cars on the road. And I would get on the road and that was like kind of I would like take drives. I'd go get my car washed or whatever. And I just like run errands as a way of like, cause you're stuck in the house all the time. And like part of it, I would just get on the road and it was just free and clear for miles and miles. Like, I mean, oh man.
Now, besides this construction, like that really slowed us down, but like for a while there, it was crazy for me to drive from Armstrong County to the city and it would take 45 minutes. It's weird. You think 15, 20 minute extra is not that big of a deal. It is. When it's every day, it adds up.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're going to move on to another subject. And we were talking about this earlier is virtual reality. And you said you have a small background. You've done the phone thing the old one where you had to connect
the old Oculus.
Yeah, the old Oculus. And I personally have the Oculus 2, but there's obviously a bunch out there. And lately, you know what Fortnite is, right? There's a game called Populous 1, and it's sort of like Fortnite. It's a lot like Fortnite. And they did a lot of updates in the last few weeks now where it's legit. You're fighting in like a city or a place, and you got to cock the gun, you got to load the gun, you got to talk to people. And since they made that update, I'm maybe at an hour, 2 hours a day on VR. So
I mean, when I had it, like, so one, I'm cheap, so I didn't like pay for any of the games, and then two,
this is a free game, like there's all those free games are.
No, I mean, all the free games were like trash. I mean, like, you know, and I still spent a good bit of time just because like it was virtual reality. They had like the jump scare games. They had like the Suicide Squad. There was like Jurassic Park. There was a few of them and whatnot. And like, you know, I spent some time, but it was like, it was so heavy because like the phone was connected at it. So like, you know, my face would just get tired you know, looking at it. And then again, like the graphics were like so garbage. Like there was the one game like the Jurassic Park where you just like look around and like a dinosaur like came and like you get to pet it or some shit like that. But other than that, and I mean, but like, you know, I was waiting for it to like kind of catch up to where it would be like, you know, like the games that you would see back, you know, it was like Lawnmower Man and shit like that, where you just be like immersed in, you know, which is crazy looking back at it because now you look at Lawnmower Man and the shit looks so trash.
Isn't that hilarious? Yeah. So your expectations change, but you're right. But the last few, and it's really weird. It's been the last few weeks, last few months, and my daughter too has been playing a lot.
Yeah.
And now it's good enough now where I can be in there and not really have a headache after 2 hours, the way the thing works. But say you get rid of all that, graphics are better, you don't have a headache. Do you think you'd be jumping in VR more?
Oh, what would man. You be doing? I mean, that's, you know, I love video games. I have to like, you know, I have my video game period, right? So like, you know, I work in a field where it's like, you know, it's all heavy. And then, you know, right around like September is when I give myself, you know, with the festival and whatnot, I give myself like this like treat, and it's always a video game. You know what I mean? So like, you know, it's been Spider-Man and like Borderlands 3 or whatever, like, you know, so like that's my treat. And because I can't, like I'm all in. Like I don't really have, moderation isn't my thing, right? So like when I get a new toy, like I'm just in it. You know what I mean? Always. So like I'm looking, you know, now that you're telling me that this Oculus thing is now a bit better and whatever, that might be my treat, you know, like in September where, you know, I get in there and then I might not see my family for another 6 months.
There's been some games, and I'm not sure there's an official Spider-Man game. There are some mods.
Oh shit!
But it is wild to swing. I mean, even in the population game, like when you jump off buildings and stuff, you can kind of fly. Like in Fortnite, you pull up the chute, and it's kind of cool. All you do is put your arms out, and it's smart enough because with the controllers, and it's like, okay, I'm flying. I'm flying. There's this other weird thing, and I just remember this right now. Obviously, the graphics are not the same as a video game on TV, but that's also because you're completely immersed. Since you are completely immersed, well, in a sense, even though it's right in front of you, my memory of the matches seems better. It's really weird to explain, but it's like you're uploading a low res video, and your mind and body's really not experiencing anything else. So the memory is easier. So I can almost be like, oh yeah, 30 seconds in, I'd be like, oh, I was going around that door, I turned left and the guy was there. And I'm like, man, my memory seems really tight.
Wow.
But I'm like, why is that? Well, it's because it's taking in less data, probably. That's a weird thought I've had.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess if you have, you know, if you're...
That's a stoner thought.
I mean, because your mind is really always taking in more, like it's taking in all of your surroundings all the time, right? Like I can hear the fan in the background, even though I'm not paying attention to it, and there's these lights over here, whatever. But, so I mean, like in my memory of it, that's going, I mean, my brain has to process what to keep and what to like, what's not, whatever. But if you're fully immersed, you can keep, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's just that. So,
and I'm like at 50%. So now the brain is working at like massive, you know, whatever. I'm just totally guessing, but that's just the feelings I've had. Yeah. So with the new VRs coming out, supposedly, like the headset that we have now, it does still, you know, around the edges, you get that weird blurriness and stuff like that. The new ones have eye tracking. So when I look left and look right, the cameras, or I guess the video, will move, so that will go away too.
Wow.
So there's going to be, what I'm trying to say is you're going to be spending a lot more of your time in virtual reality. There's some really, really awesome stuff. Are you a Snapchat guy? Do you do the Snapchats?
No, I tried. I mean, man, I'm just so old, and I just don't have.
We're the same age today.
Yeah, I just don't have, like, I mean, man, not so much.
Nah. So do you have a Snap account or anything?
I do have a Snap account, and then like Drinking Partners has a Snap account, and like it was active while we had an intern that was like running the Snap account.
Right.
But no, not it hasn't been active for quite some time.
Yeah, and I understand that. I don't use Snap for work. I don't use it to really even like watch the news. There are some stuff you can watch on there that's weird. I like the encrypted chat. I like to be able to message and send messages and like it's gone the next day. But so they've come out with this thing called the let's bring it up here for the video. It's the Snapchat drone. Whoops. There it goes. I want to put it in the middle so people could see. And you can see it's really small and you don't fly it. There's no controls. You just put your hand out and it will take off. And you'll like program it like either to follow or to take pictures. And once you do that, it just does that. So you can walk around. And it's the idea is like, oh, you're having a party. All right, let's take pictures of my friends the next 20 minutes and it'll just do that.
I mean, that's fucking amazing. I mean, I think drone shots are like some of the coolest shit on the planet. And I mean, like just that, but I can't fly it. I'm not a,
This one's doing by itself.
Yeah,
and then when you're done, you put your hand out and it will come and land on your hand.
Wow.
Now this is all beta. Like I'm not sure you can even. I think you can buy it, but it's like limited.
Yeah, I can't afford it. No matter what it doesn't sound affordable.
Well, I don't know. I think it's one of those promotional things. It only might be cost a couple $100. To be honest, just judging by the size and what I've watching, there are some semi-professional drones that are only like $500. So I would assume this is probably less than $300, maybe $250. You know, and that's just the. I keep saying the word beta, but like it's not a product that they're really trying to put out there to sell. You know, it's just like, what's this gonna do?
Yeah,
I think that's some wild stuff.
Man,
cameras flying around.
Man, those home videos, man, those bedroom scenes might be a little bit good drone shots. Oh my god! Well, so does it only work for Snapchat, or can you work it for anything?
Right now, that's just a Snapchat.
It's just a Snapchat product.
Yeah,
okay,
but I'm sure like everything else, Amazon has like a security drone, and it's like the size of my fist. Yeah. So if like a sensor goes off, it goes up and follows the criminal or whatever around the house. Yeah. So would you have one of those maybe?
I mean, listen, man, there's some things I feel like I could do on there, and I mean some angles that I haven't seen myself in. That might be. Yeah.
That's funny. The program, like, listen, honey, we're going in 5 minutes. Let me program this thing right here. All right, we're doing missionary. What else? What other ones you want to do? You want this from behind? All right, behind shot, you know, and it's a little breeze.
Yeah.
Hey, porn does always kind of start the trend,
that is,
right?
I mean, we're only here because of porn. That's the only reason the internet even exists.
Correct.
Like most of the technology, the camera, all of this shit is due to porn.
Yep,
you know what I mean? Like if you can porn it, people will buy it. Like that is.
Yeah. VR. That's where, I mean, they're trying to figure out the best way that, maybe we should try to keep this show PG as possible. But yeah, it doesn't really happen.
Show. How did y'all not talk? I mean, this can't be the first porn tech conversation you had on a tech show.
No. Like I said before, I tried to be very professional and I wanted to be very newsy with this.
Okay, yes, very much so.
And then I brought some people in, and then about 10, 15 minutes in, I'm like, you can't be mad. And I'm like swearing. I'm like, son of a gun.
Yeah.
I can't keep it still.
So how about Jesus?
Let's jump into religion immediately. How's that war going over there? Anyways, to keep it in with some tech stuff, this is just in the news. The WhatsApp app, I always have trouble saying that because it's app. The WhatsApp is soon going to let you silently exit chat groups. So I guess the question I asked to you with your high-tech gear, do you have read receipts on any of your stuff?
Nah, man. I mean, it's too close. I don't even want to I don't want to know if you picked it. I don't want to be left on red. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm a Samsung guy. I'm an Android guy, right? I mean, which is weird because they've started doing these like bubbles that like, you know, they'll have like the little waiting bubble or whatever, which is, again, it's too close, it's too personal. I didn't ask for that shit. I don't want that shit. And you know, so yeah, no, I don't want any of that, any parts of that. But then like which is weird, iPhone users, y'all be like, you'll be able to like a message and you'll be able to like love a message and like laugh at a message or whatever, and it's like, I mean, just don't respond. I
would be like that. I feel like that, but I feel like if I don't I used to be a K person.
Yeah.
I would just say K until I realized I was pissing a lot of people off. And not on purpose. But I understand. I guess there's that weird like, wow, you only put that much effort, like one thumb into my response. Back in the day, I used to say goodbye in text conversations when I was younger. I'd be like, oh, talk to you later, bye.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, there's been all these these waves and different norms, and like not everybody is on the same thing or whatever. I'm much on the ruder side of things. Like I talk when I need to talk. I need to get the information there, and once the information has been exchanged, that's it. I'm done. Like I don't need the polite. Like it's like the extra effort. It's like again the K or the loved it or liked it or whatever. It's like you wanted to say something but you didn't have anything else to say. So it's just like, and it's awkward. It's just like let's be grown ups. Why don't you just go about your business
exactly
until you need me again? Yeah,
and if we're face to face, we'll have a real conversation. Real people.
Oh, for sure.
But I 100%. It may be more agree with you. I hate the whole show and tell in games, like, oh, I gotta say best regards or whatever,
and because I think because of this technology, we feel like people feel entitled to your time because you always have your device in your hand, and that's where we have to be as a society aggressively protective of our time, because if not, then you're just going to constantly especially working for ourselves, right, as entrepreneurs or whatever, you stop having a 9 to 5, and now it's almost 24/7 that you can work if you're not careful, right? I mean, and I there are times where I'm sending 2 a.m. emails or whatever. But here's the thing: if I send you a 2 a.m. email, I don't expect you to answer me. You ain't even got to answer me within there's an allotted maybe 2 or 3 days, right? Yeah, I mean, maybe if it's really important, right? And I'll follow up and I'll say, hey, this was important.
Yes.
But outside of that, 3-4 days, that's fine. I'm still here. I'll be here. Get back to me. This is a rolling thing, but
if it's very important, call me.
Right. I'll call.
Call me.
And I'll leave a message. I'll even double call. If it's really an emergency.
Because the phone actually will make, some people have it on silent, but if you back to back call, it will turn it off sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, so there's different ways to say, hey, this is more important than that. But ultimately, I'm not available at all times. And even if I'm picking up your phone, I'll see your message. I'm not in that space right now, right? And mentally, I'm not in the space to get into that. Yeah. I mean, especially when I deal with a lot of different, there's comedy and there's music and there's arts and there's activism and there's all these different things, and I can't always be in that mindset as a creative.
You almost got to show up okay, today I'm tech day.
Right.
Today I'm brewery day.
Right.
Today, I totally
there's
get
family
that.
time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's got to be, there's emails that are sitting there and I can't be on my email all the time. So there's days it piles up and then I come in, I get my coffee going and I'm like,
yes.
We're doing all the email. Who needs an email? You get an email. You get an email. You get an email. Right? You know what I mean? So,
Dave, this is why I had you on the show. Every time we talk, I'm like, me and Dave have a lot in common. Every time. It's like we're on some kind of same brainwave on certain things, and that is such one of them. And it's also a pet peeve of mine because I know people if I would email them at 2 a.m., they would be waking up and sending an email back.
Yeah.
And it's now I know maybe not do that, but it's okay. It's okay. Nah. Yeah, that's really funny. But I do think though at parties though, when I get back to the WhatsApp letting you leave silently, I actually like that.
Yes.
I do you don't have to say bye. You don't have to announce that I'm leaving, And to make a note on the other things you said, how many apps there are. There's Slack, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. And you're right, it does get to a point. I don't even know when I messaged you to come here. I was like, should I text him? Should I Instagram him? What do I usually text him?
I don't even know. And that's the thing, because I'll have conversations with people, and then I got to remember what medium I had that conversation on, so that I can go back and reference it.
Yes.
To and there's some people, and it's wild because. There's some people that'll have the gall to have the same conversation on 3 different apps. They'll message me and then it'll be then I'm having a conversation over here. And then it's then it's a text and it's wait, where am I? How? Yeah. And then I got to piece it together, the puzzle of
it's all in the same day.
Yeah. It's all,
it's not even a week apart. And it's a similar subject, different subject. It's hey, what conversation are we having and when?
Yeah. You know what I mean? So, the WhatsApp, the silent leave, that's cool. You know what I mean? There's, it's weird because you'll get on Instagram and even the Instagram live and you'll be the only motherfucker. Then you're stuck oh shit, did they see me? Which
I forget right now that we're on Instagram live.
know, like you gotta like duck out. Like, man, I don't like, like again, that's why like they were talking about like removing like followers counts and shit like that or whatever. You know what I mean? But again, I genuinely, I don't care. I don't follow a lot of numbers. Like we have the podcast, we have, the TV show or whatever. I don't really care about, we need numbers in order for it to continue. But like on a day to day, on a creative, situation, I don't like look at the numbers as a guy. Maybe, maybe later after we've done some things, it's cool to check in from time to time. But I'm not just like, after every, it was like, oh man, we got to get those numbers up. Or we got to get the followers up or whatever.
I used to be more like that. But then I realized long game. You're right. You guys, you'll sit down sometimes and you got to put that together so you can say, hey, this is our audience.
Yeah.
But if you're so stuck on it every single day, then you're not stuck on making the content good. Or you're not focusing on yourself in a way.
Exactly. I mean, like, you have to have those periods of creativity and then you come back or whatever. So I like the fact that you can just like silently duck off. Maybe you got something important to do. You don't have to feel bad about it. I don't have to feel bad about, losing a couple of people that are, engaged in the conversation or whatever the fuck, and then like, the whole work from home thing, like again, these employers are not, they're not entitled to all of your time all the time. And maybe something is happening at home that it requires my attention. So I need to fucking get off. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'll get the notes later. You know what I mean? I don't need you judging me.
Yeah. Most office jobs, I'm like, why is so many people here? Like some people, what's funny about that too? You start to realize not only why are these people here, it's like, I don't think we need all these people. You start realizing, what are you actually doing?
I remember working in offices and, especially like working in government and like, there's a lot of redundant like roles and a lot of paperwork where you're like, why? And you're looking at this like, you're talking to somebody, you're like, you do what I do. Like one of us is not necessary. Like, but I'm not sure. I don't really want to break. Like, you
don't want to mess with people's money and stuff. Then you find like middlemen where it's like, are you like, you're kind of just moving that subject that person talked about to this office over here. Like, why don't we just, It
might not be necessary. There's a lot of government waste.
There's a lot. And it's not just government, by the way. It's in corporations and agencies all over the place. So still to stay in the social media, and we've been talking about so much different platforms. What is your actual favorite social media platform?
Twitter, man.
It's Twitter.
It's Twitter. I mean, because
that's cool.
You get to curate your own experience. It's in real time. You know what I mean, it's chronological.
You get to pick, I think, by the way. You can pick favorites now.
Favorite or not. But I'm always recent. You know what I mean? Like, cool. It's chronological for me. I get to curate my own experience. A lot of people complain. It's like, oh, Twitter is this and Twitter is that. It's like, Twitter is what you make it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a news source for me. A lot of times it's the platform where you see shit first. Like, I mean, there's a lot of breaking news. I follow a lot of journalists and like people across the world and a lot of different like expertise. So like, if I want to know more about a subject, I can hop on Twitter and follow experts in that field and learn more from, what they post and knowledge that they give, and it's a curative platform. So like, I'm not on Snapchat. I'm not on, the TikToks, and I'm not on a lot, but like the best of pops up on Twitter. Like if it's really good, you're going to see it on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, so I get the, I get the shit post. So, like Facebook, like after a while, like you can only have so many posts a day on Facebook. So many posts, because it sticks there, it's there or whatever. But Twitter, you just fucking throw it out there, it's whatever. And it just scrolls.
Yeah, just scroll.
Whatever the fuck. Yeah, I mean, I might delete this later, whatever. Yeah, I mean, like, so yeah, I fucking love Twitter, man.
That is a great point. It is the breaking news. Yeah. Like that's where, if you want to get the news first, that's where
every morning I wake up and I go straight to, I go what's trending. You know what I mean, I follow, there's certain people I follow, I check in, and like that's my morning news.
Is that the one you use the most then, you think, Twitter?
Oh yeah, by far. I would say it's a toss up between Twitter and Facebook. Facebook is, when we're trying, more local, right? I mean, so being a producer of events and whatnot, when I want to engage the local, folks and whatnot, then yeah, Facebook, I'm gonna have a better, for that. But say, when I'm trying to reach larger audiences, grow brands, like more international, say like with the fest and whatnot. The fest is more of an international thing, so we're able to expand that because of Twitter, because of the connections that I've made on Twitter. But those people aren't flying in every weekend from England and Australia and Canada or whatever. So again, Facebook for more of the local thing, and Twitter, for the more global outreach.
Do you think, besides it should being a local thing, do you think it's more of an age thing too, like a millennial
definitely.
thing?
Oh, we're definitely old as shit. I mean, like our kids aren't using that shit. They fucking
not
hate
using
it
Facebook at all.
At all.
At all.
I mean, like they check in once in a while when they want to talk to their grandma or something like that. I mean, but like they're not. They're not on that platform whatsoever.
So I think that's interesting to think, because like I went on and on about how I like the Oculus and how I really. Facebook owns the Oculus.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I also am in agreement with, like, I really don't like Facebook. And actually, I think it's weird, in the last few weeks, I think it's gotten better, but I thought it was so awful and it was getting worse and worse. But recently it's been like throwing me more news and videos and less of people posting and talking to each other. Now that might be just my experience on Facebook right now, because it used to be like, you would post something and I would read and then comments about that. And then someone else would post something and that was mainly my feed.
Yeah.
But now it's like, a Marvel movie coming out or a video of people, almost like a TikTok video. Yeah. I'm seeing that more. So I don't even know what Facebook is going to become.
Yeah, I don't it's a great tool for me to connect. I don't do a whole lot of scrolling. Most of the scrolling that I see is like ads. Like, there's just so many ads. It's ads and like suggested content is the vast majority. Like every 3 or 4 posts is either an ad or suggested content. And I'm just not interested in that. And like, Facebook, again, because it's so local and because it is so like, people that I grew up with and like family or whatever, there's just so much drama.
Yeah, it's
so much like
drama.
Petty bullshit. And then like, I'm a comedian. So, comedians, they're like prissy little bitches, right? They're always like, they're always all their little beef and like complaints and like all the. So, it's
like local beef. You're
yeah,
right.
it's all this like local
beef.
petty like shit that just doesn't. I don't like. So, I scroll it from time to time and I'm like, okay, every once in a while there might be something that somebody posts that is like, engaging or whatever. But for the most part, like, I'm on there. I go in there to engage the audience and whatnot. There's some groups that I'm in that like,
I like groups.
The groups help, because they are curated to things that I'm interested in. And those conversations, are where, I have, the most engagement or whatever. But like, that's where I'm at the least throughout the day. Like I said, for the most part, if I'm scrolling, it's Twitter.
That's Twitter. It's all about Twitter. So do you have a TikTok account? I can't remember. You said
I do not have a TikTok.
So have you? But you've spent a little bit of time. You've been at least a couple swipes.
On Twitter, I've seen TikTok.
Oh,
videos
so you've not actually been in the TikTok app?
Yeah, I've never been in the TikTok app.
Oh, so you don't know the feeling of how it being different.
What it even.
I'll try to explain it. I'm sure I said this a couple times on the podcast. Is the vast difference of TikTok, and it's obviously was that musical app. If you didn't know, it used to be Musical, which was a kid lip syncing app.
Yeah,
and that's why they actually have the rights and stuff. They kind of run like radio to use all the music and stuff. So like as a video producer growing up, I was never allowed to like take like popular music and make a music. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah,
But with TikTok, you can, because
I was wondering how they got
radio. It's like a
shit.
Radio thing.
Gotcha.
You get radio views, but it's all about this crazy algorithm that I swear it doesn't show you the videos you want. It shows you the videos you need. It's really weird, and it also doesn't show you. It won't be like it realizes, oh, you like beer videos, and it's just gonna be beer all the time. Beer. It kind of gets like we're gonna try something different at you, and different at you. So what I kind of see it is, it's like YouTube on like crack. It's like when I used to go old school YouTube to learn and get entertaining, it was always like this intro, and then eventually it would be like the good content that I would learn or be excited, and then it'd be like an outro with like whatever. TikTok is none of that. It's just the shit, the thick stuff, whatever the good stuff.
Yeah.
And then you flick the next video and it's the more great stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's one of the most addicting apps I have ever used in my entire life. You should at least try it a couple times just to understand how scary, almost how scary the algorithm is.
I just feel I got enough addictions, man. I take a lot of drugs, man. But again, what I've seen, TikTok videos like Vine, right? Like Vine back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Like they are, it is some of the best content on Twitter. Like when I'm, scrolling, when there's a video,
you're seeing it.
A TikTok video is one of, because it's short, it's sweet, like, and there's just so many, like the creativity of people is
wild,
insane, man.
Wild.
Like I love I love social media because it does put like technology and the ability to reach people into the hands of the masses. And we get to see just how talented humans are, man. You know, and it's like back in the day, you had to have, you know, like access to money and wealth and have to know people and middlemen and all this other shit to be seen. And now, like, everybody has it. Anybody that has an internet connection and a shitty phone can like be the next like fucking person.
And
like,
for some reason, everyone thinks that now too.
Yeah, I mean, everybody out there or whatever, but like, you know, eventually people, you know, there's people that are, you know, and it also shows, you know, it's not just talent, it's work, right? I mean, like you see these content creators and like people think that, you know, and you look at like OnlyFans, right? Like just because you have the access to to what to do or whatever, and there's a platform for it, doesn't mean that it's good. Like most of the content on OnlyFans is fucking trash. You would think, but I mean, you realize like how much talent and work goes into something like porn, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and the content creators that are consistently doing well on that platform are really talented and hardworking. You know what I mean? Like they're not just, you know, and the same thing with TikTok. They're not just like picking up a camera and just doing some stupid dances. Like they're working at it. They're figuring out their audience. They're like, you know, they're tailoring it. It's a lot of work to do that, to kind of rise above that. And like, that's what I love now is that the rise that's happening is more of an organic, more of a, you know, the people that are also, you know, talented and hardworking and not just the chosen folks that like, you know, the
gatekeepers are gone.
Yeah, the gatekeepers, right? I mean, man,
those people can rise up and like show their talents, and it's crazy. It's crazy, like you said, to see how talented people are. And it's like it is like a newfound thing. It's like, wow, we really can do it a lot. It's also crazy to see how many animals and dogs and how smart they are now. I was like, those dogs are way. I can't believe how smart some dogs are now. They're now. They've probably always been, but now we're watching them on TikTok. It's just wow. It's just wow. Well, you should try. Maybe I shouldn't tell you that, but it's just an experience that I want to experience other people because I want you to come back a couple months from now like, Dustin, I did it. I was stuck for 5 hours, you know.
you got $5. I need to get on the bus.
That's hilarious.
I haven't worked in 3 months.
You haven't worked in 3 months. But speaking of work, Day, I see you all over the place now. You got like a real show going on, a real show, Ed and Day in the Burgh. And I guess you finished shooting at least first season. So what's going on with that? How's that going?
I mean, it happened.
It happened.
I mean, it was different. It was a different medium. We you know, very local approached us. They're owned by Hearst. And you know, we're like, hey, you know, we want to like, you know, do a show. You know, basically kind of like drinking partners, but you know, you're going out and about. And I was real skeptical because I'm skeptical of, you know, rich white people. Anytime rich white people come to me with like money to do something, I'm like, oh, for what? Like, what exactly do you want me to do? And how do you want me? You know what I mean? Like, you know, so I was real mad, you know, I was mad skeptical and we had all these like talks beforehand, and I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna be one of these soft shoeing niggas out here, just kind of like, what, we're gonna go out here and like, you know what I mean?
Here's
like,
pie.
I mean, food. We're brothers, we're happy, and we're singing, and we're colored, like, you know what I mean? It wasn't gonna be, you know, I was like, nah, you know, so
that's fine.
you know, we had conversations, and you know, they convinced us, you know, they told us how much we were getting paid. I was like, you know what? How's
that song and dance go?
It's worth a try, you know, whatever. So, I mean, we went out and, you know, basically it's a show where, you know, me and Ed are in the Burgh, and we go to different neighborhoods in each episode. Each episode is a different neighborhood in the Burgh, and we explore like, you know, the arts and entertainment, you know, kind of like in there, you know, in those areas. And yeah, I mean, it's you know, so we did 8 episodes, 8 different areas, and you know, each episode, you know, we did, you know, somewhere between, you know, 12 and like 15 hours of filming for those days. So like, you know, I was waking up at like, you know, 5:30 in the morning, driving in, and then, you know, not getting home until like, you know, 10, 11 o'clock. And like, I mean, it is exhausting. I mean, it's just nonstop. Well, it's not nonstop. So it's a lot of like stop and go. So you're going, you get there, and then like they got to set up, and they got to mic you, and then you got to, you know, go in.
Wait,
and
let's talk. How you do this? How you do video production again?
Right. I mean,
no, it's like, okay. We're on a podcast. You're telling everybody else.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I didn't, you know, so like it was a different medium for me because like I didn't realize how much like work like goes into it and like how exhausting and like, it's okay, do that again and like do it from this angle.
Mentally exhausting.
Like, yeah, and it's like do it from this angle and like there was this and it's this weird dynamic because everything that we've done up until now, everything that I've been a part of up until now, like like we had complete creative control in. You know what I mean, like so like it was all like self-motivated. It was all complete control. We we produced it, we promoted it, like but with this, like you had different interests. So you had like the interest of Hearst. You had the the vision and the direction of like the directors, the producers. You had me and Ed, you know what I mean, like our voices and what we wanted. And then you had like the people who like we went to their place and they don't really know what the fuck is going on, so they're like trying to get so like everybody is in this space and like and it's a freelance crew, so like it's this weird like as we're trying to tell the story, it's like whose story are we telling? Yeah. Who's like eyes are we trying to see this from or whatever? And that was a weird dynamic to have because sometimes, especially when we don't know what the hell this is going to look like afterwards, right? We didn't really know how long this was going to be. And you could take 12 hours, 15 hours of footage and chop that down into whatever the fuck you want it to be, right? So like there was a lot of skepticism, and it was weird, but it was also dope because we did get to experience different sides of the city that we didn't know. So it was like, Hearst would suggest some things, the producers would find some places, we would find some places or whatever. And as a result of all of those like influences and, like insights, like it did come out. I thought it came out, really well, with that. And, like I said, we did the 8 episodes. There was a lot of like, well, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not saying that shit. You know what I mean? And we pushed back on a lot of things. Even before the episodes released, we looked at, some of the episodes and, we had feedback and said, nah, that doesn't look right. You know what I mean? Or like, that doesn't make sense that you would have this here or whatever. And they heard our feedback, so we feel heard, in that regard or whatever. But, it's just weird because when we did it, we did the voiceovers, they paid us. And like, I just was like, okay, well, we did it and like, it'll never happen again. Like, and it was still kind of feel like that to an extent, but like, I didn't expect it to be what it was. Like, I just was like, all right, well, yeah, we did some filming for some shit because it's on this new platform. So like, experimental platform with an experimental show. Like, this might not even see the light of day. Like, whatever the fuck. You were telling people that we're filming with, we're like, we don't know what the fuck this is. Like, just have out, just hang out, or whatever. And like, it's weird because like you get into a conversation and like that, it stops. The flow of that conversation stops, right? You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, well, we need it from this angle. We need to like, it's like, why the fuck are you fucking, it's just this whole thing. So like, I didn't think it was going to be much of anything. And then like the trailer dropped, the first like, like minute trailer dropped. And I was like, oh shit, that's like a real show. It's like a real show. Yeah, who's that guy on TV? Yeah, it's like, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, and that's when I kind of started to get excited or whatever. And cool. I saw the first couple of episodes and I still was like skeptical because they really kind of like scrubbed a lot of the shit away, right? You know what I mean? Like, we're in Larimer. We're talking about like, all these Birkenstocks and Subarus that are, in this like newly gentrified place. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, man, you just wasn't like this, like, 10 years ago. Like, there's a white dude making tacos. We're like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? So we're like calling attention to all that. They scrubbed all that shit. You know what I mean? Like all the dirty jokes, all those are gone. You know what I mean? Very family friendly and shit like that. So I was like kind of skeptical. I'm like, oh man, are they going to, keep doing? But like what I found was that like, kids were watching this shit. Like, my friends' kids are watching it.
The first episode.
Yeah, like, like my friends, like parents and grandparents. Like my friend was like, yo, my grandma like loves your show. I was like, grandma, like, So like we're reaching like new audiences with that or whatever. And it kind of like, again, it was like, it was a compromise in that like, it was like, okay, well, not everything that I do has to be like loud, angry black dude, right? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to always be, they didn't put anything in there that we didn't approve of or that we didn't actually say ourselves. So it wasn't like they like pieced some things together. It was like, I love, like Trump, like, you know what I mean?
But it is funny and like you can do that. Not all weird, but it's so easy. It's so easy being that's like my main profession is editing. And I do feel like you said said, you got guys 12 hours of footage. That's so much. That's so crazy that you could make anything. You're right.
Yeah.
You can make like 20 different stories probably with that much footage. But I do feel that way. I feel like if I get more than an hour of footage of anything, I can make something. Yeah. And I can not only make something, I can make 5 different versions of that.
Yeah. And I mean, that was the you know, there was just like no trust factor with it or whatnot, and like seeing it. But again, I mean, I think that it came out to be something that, you know, one, expanded our audience. Two, you know, we did, you know, I think that, you know, the feedback that we got was our personalities came through in it pretty well and whatnot. And
which really is the show and why you were hired in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, having the personalities come out and whatnot, the dynamic between me and Ed, and then, you know, like, you know, having some black representation, you know, on, you know, in media, like, right, as an actual like TV show. And then it was another weird thing because like, I'm like, you know, they you know, I was like, you know, they said it was like on Roku and Fire TV, and I'm like, I don't have any of this shit, right? Like, you know, I'm a pirate, right? So like, if I want digital content, I go straight to the Pirate Bay. You know what I mean? Like, I've got my Google Chromecast. I fucking mirror my, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't, you know, so I'm like, I don't have any of this shit. I was like, nobody has this shit. So they ended up having to send me a Roku device, like, you know what I mean, so I could watch my own show. And like, everybody's like, oh, where can I get this? And I'm like, well, it's a TV show. Like, you have to, like, everybody, well, I can't download it. And they're like, well, that's because it's a TV show. Like, and it was a weird fucking thing to like be spending your whole life, like, you know, TV show sounds like a great fucking thing, but then you like, you know, to be in 2022 and be kind of like bummed out that it's only on TV. Like, I mean, I'm like, well,
isn't that a bitch?
Right? Yeah, I mean,
hilarious, right?
Right.
So funny. So I'm so happy you brought that part up because I was debating to bring that part up because that is the very first thought and thing I start thinking about because, like, you know, obviously I'm a production producer. I know all that stuff. And I was like, Roku and Amazon. And so I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, how quick am I going to get this on my television? And I was like, I was like, this is more than 2 clicks away. Like, how are they going to advertise this to their audience who's so used to going, boop, boop, there's Day and Ed.
Right.
And so I thought the same thing. I was like, that's dangerous. They need to figure out maybe some clips on YouTube or something like that. And it's funny. I actually understand. I know how they do this. I know how they get to Roku and Amazon. It's actually a little less confusing. I don't want to give out like the whole background.
I mean, I know now that I've gone
you probably
through the
know
process.
how to do it. But I thought that was really interesting too. And you're right. Maybe in the future, in a couple of years, that Amazon, Roku, and it is Apple TV will be better hooked up to be whatever. But that is weird because I'm so used to like getting on YouTube. I hit the cast button and it's on my television.
You know what I mean?
You know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's you know, I mean, it is mobile now, right? You know what I mean, like, and I don't know why they didn't come out because it's not hard to go mobile.
Well,
like, you know what I mean,
what I, from my understanding, from just a business perspective, is like right now, I'm pretty sure you watch those videos and they're free. Yeah, like they just pop up. But since they are on that platform in that way, they are able to control advertising and put them behind a paywall.
Yeah.
So say you guys are a freaking hit, like huge. All right, $1 an episode. So and it's a button now. You know, it's so I think in that dynamic where they're probably planning, since this is early stuff, like they're gonna do another show with other people, maybe even get you guys a second season. Who knows? I'm just guessing. And then they figure out, okay, we need to do this and this and this. So I'm just thinking on their perspective. But that's funny that you brought that up because it's literally the first thing. There's like phones flying around here.
It was the first thing that everybody was like, man, they were like, oh man, they're like, congrats on your show. And I'm like, yeah, that's dope. They were like, yeah, I mean, I haven't watched it yet. Like, they're like, I can't find it.
I was reading comments going like, did you watch it? They're like, no, Lynn, don't comment. Awesome.
Right. Like, you know, I mean, it was very difficult. But I mean, I am appreciative of the people that did what I did. What I was also surprised was that there is a large portion of people that already have the Rokus and the Fire TVs and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, I was surprised because I was like, nobody's ever going to fucking do this shit. And then like my friends were hitting me up like, yo, I saw you on like Roku. I saw you on Fire TV or whatever. Like, cause I mean, they have these platforms already. Yeah. And I'm like, what? Yeah.
It is. And it's one of those things. Now, Roku is a public stock. And so, but it's supposedly, it's like the cheap one you can get. Now, when I say cheap, I literally just mean money, you know? So I think a lot of people, maybe grandmas, Christmas, are like, oh, streaming stick. That's good for the nephew or the grandson, you know, and they're just throwing those around. But it is cool. You're right. It's TV.
Yeah.
It's TV. I mean, it's shot like TV. Even the way it's shot and just, with the shots, like I keep saying shots, the way it's like, one angle and the other angle. You don't see that on YouTube. It's usually like one shot or like that's it. You're running around with the phone and such like that. So it is a lot different. That's really cool. So you're still doing the Drinking Partners podcast. Actually, you said you took a hiatus for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, with the pandemic and whatnot, and then just so much, with the show, with the fest, with like, COVID and all that, it became difficult to align schedules and like get in quality content. We were trying to do like the Zoom situation, but like, it's hard. Comedy is hard when, the half of the people are frozen. You know what I mean? Like, so that shit was it was terrible. So we stopped doing that. Then we came back in, we did a couple of episodes where me and Ed were in the studio and then we had the guest remote. But like, then Omicron, the Omi dropped, you know what I mean? So like, that dropped and it became a whole nother thing. And then Delta, it was a whole so it was like, so it was just like, all right, you know what I mean? Let's just kind of wait until it's time, so we feel good and safe at this point, we're all triple boosted and or have had it. So it's like, all right, well, I think we can come back and have like a decent, safe, podcast these days. So we start back Sunday, and it'll be interesting because I know comedy, after a while, like you get a little rusty and your timing is off and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see how we do.
Well, that's what I said about this podcast. At first, it was just for practice, but now it's like I think I have to do it every week, just so I'm like still up on the technology and just the personality. Like I would love if someone smarter than me would come and host this show. Like I feel like I'm good at it, and it's just like for fun and networking. But I would like someone a little bit better. But it's me right now. So
I think you're doing a good. You're far more organized than than we are. I mean, shit. We're just like.
So what number podcast would this be on Sunday for Drinking Partners?
So we stopped at 249.
Okay.
And we were planning this big 250 episode and whatnot, and then like literally like everything shut down. Like, so I don't know if we're gonna like try to number this later or whatever. I mean, how many podcasts we've done? I mean, we're probably over 300 podcasts. We've done some live ones. We've done some
ones you forget about. You mislabel a couple of them wrong.
Yeah, I mean, some get lost. Like, but we'll be coming back to about 250.
That's cool. You did bring up comedy, and you're mixing comedy with your podcast. It's a comedy podcast, but it's also a drinking podcast that kind of evolved into a brewery podcast too. It's crazy how it's done all the same thing. But comedy wise, did you do any of the live video comedy, Zoom comedy? Thank you.
Nah, man,
thank God.
It just.
Did you think about it?
No. No, it like Zoom is fucking terrible to be on. Like, I mean, it's not a fun platform to be on at all. It's a working platform. Like it's like that Clubhouse came out and it was like it's a conference call. Like anybody that like had an office job and had to do a conference call as a form of work does not want to do that shit for fun. You know what I mean? And like Zoom was the same way. Like I had spent so many hours just on Zoom because all the meetings went to Zoom.
All of them.
And like, you know what I mean? And like that's most of my job is meetings. Like, you know what I mean?
My friends with my regular phone calls start doing, because it was just easier just to hit the Zoom buttons. Now I'm just like on Zoom all the time.
It's just like I'm like fuck. So like I got sick of Zoom, and then somebody like the concept. I mean, I get it for the folks that did it and the folks that like utilize that as a medium, to keep themselves fresh or to reach new audiences or to raise funds or whatever. All more power to them. That just it wasn't mine, right? You know what I mean? Like I'm more of a read and react. I like to actually be in front of people, and just the idea of people just sitting like I can't read and react with you. You know what I mean?
I think I agree that like maybe some people needed it to stay focused, whatever, but it's a bad product and it's a bad for both. Maybe you feel a little bit better, but man, it doesn't. I didn't see a lot of good stories.
It felt like an open mic where like, you know what I mean? Like the people that were there were like they were like friends of people, or you know what I mean, that showed up. There was other comedians that were there trying to like egg each other on, like improv, right? Like improv is a bunch of like terrible shit, but like high-fiving in the background, right? You know what I mean? Like, so it's like I felt like it was
I love you, Dave.
I felt like it was like that kind of situation. Yes. You know what I mean? Like and I'm like, all right, cool. I mean, more power to you all, but like you won't find me doing that shit. Like I'd rather like same thing with the podcast. We stopped doing the podcast because we'd rather put out no product than a bad product. And like, I mean, ultimately, quality first above all, above everything. And like, you're not gonna see Dade deteriorate. Fucking Zoom into COVID. Yeah, I mean.
Well, Dave, you got so much going on. This is we went through things. You got your TV show, you got your podcast, and you also touched on your festival, which is Barrel and Flow. So what's going on with that this year? You got a new location, right?
Yeah, we're down in the Strip District. Nice. We got two music stages. One with live music, and then the other is a DJ stage. We got 2 live artist stages this year, which is new. In the past, we just kind of had artists like kind of spread out, doing their thing. This year, they'll be on actual stages, 2 different stages for the live artists, live painting and things of that nature. We got 75 breweries coming in, 30 of which are black owned from around the country, 45 collaborative breweries. So like the only way that you can pour beer at this festival is to either be black or to bring a black friend, right? So those collaborations are going to be with breweries across the country and locally that are doing collaboration beers for the fest with black artists, entrepreneurs, and other breweries. And that's our way to kind of like start the conversation between the brewing industry and the black community, and kind of showing, showing the brewing industry, how to meaningfully engage the black community in a way that's non-predatory. You're not going to just pay Billy D. Williams to like peddle bullshit malt liquor and then be like, all right, cool. We like job's done. Right. You know what I mean? Like, we want you to come into the neighborhood and sell the same thing that you sold to white people. Opportunity. Right. And because that's what craft beer is. The difference between craft beer and mass beer is that if I give you the money, I know you. I know that the money might be like, maybe you're going to like sponsor my softball team. Maybe you're going to do a fundraising, right? Like these are community centers. Like these breweries are community centers, and they're typically in white neighborhoods. So we want to utilize the brewing industry in the same way in the black community. And you're only able to do that if you bring in the black community, through opportunity, and not just, hey, how do we sell more, booze to black people? So with these collaborations, you're starting the conversation with how do we promote you and your brand? That's how you start the conversation, right? With these collaborations. And, they've come up with so many like great, we've had sangria beers, we've had beer that tastes like cornbread, we've had barbecue beers, we've had like, all kind of wild shit. So red velvet cakes and shit like that from different, bakeries and whatnot. So food and beer pairings. So like super excited about the collaborations. And then, we'll have 30 food trucks. Yes. some of the best food in the city, you know what I mean? And then 30 30 goods and services vendors. So it's a nice marketplace. A lot of talented people come out there, showcase their brands. And then some nonprofits, so that, if people want to get into the industry, if they want to, if they want to get into business, they want to get in the industry, if they want to do, whatever, there's some folks out there that are, small business incubation, things of that nature. We got a little bit of something for everybody, so that when you come in, you're not just getting shit faced. A lot of these beer festivals is just, it's just beer, a parking lot, and like a reggae band in the background. It's like, like the fuck is there to do other than get slosh faced? With this, you come in and you get to have conversations. You get to see the art. You get to, engage the community and whatnot. You get to have these stories that are told at each booth. There's a different story that's being told. And, it's been a fun time for everybody except for me.
Beer festival that builds a community. That phrase probably has never been said that many times before that, but I love the way you talk about it. And I have worked this festival, I think, for the last 2 years, and it is by far one of the most fun things I've ever been a part of. And I'm really excited to be part of running it this year.
Appreciate it.
Is there any more plugs and stuff? I know I felt there's been a lot of plugs for the last 20 minutes, but it's not. This has been very engaging conversations. I know these have been your projects, but I love these projects. I love your podcast. Barrel and Flow has probably been the most fun thing I've done in the last, because I think it was everyone's fun thing. We were all stuck in our houses. I was like, we're still doing Barrel and Flow, right? We're still doing, yes, we're making that happen. Everyone mask up, let's go.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I appreciate, your involvement and whatnot. Like, DigiFest, a couple of years ago was like the highlight, for me of my year. It was like the only event that I went to, participated in, during COVID. Yeah, and the fact that we were able to do that, I talk to people all the time, because a lot of people go, oh yeah, well, you only, this is your 4th year. And I'm like, no. We did a festival Like we did a full on festival in 2021. We didn't invite anybody to it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but like we had artists, we had, you know, music, we had like, you know, we did a full on production for that. And it was amazing how many people it took to bring that together and how much trust like in the community. You know what I mean? It took that like people at the height of a pandemic, you know, we followed the science. We made sure that there weren't, you know, a whole lot of people all, you know, this, that, and the other. Everybody came in and did what they needed to do to like get through it and put out a quality product. And like, and nobody was like on some like, oh, fuck you and like fuck science and like, oh, I'm gonna just like do whatever I wanted. Everybody came in and just was like, okay, like they felt like this was a special thing that maybe, you know, like wasn't going to happen again, and just did what it was necessary. And just again, man, I look back at it and like, again, like it was, you know, as a producer, I'm just running around.
I know.
Like,
it's so funny. I think I asked you maybe 2 questions that day, and I was like, I need to ask someone else questions. Day is full. He's full.
Like I'm like all over. But like, I mean, that thing got me through the winter because it was the first time that I got to watch like any of the performances from the festival. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like I was on repeat. I was watching Jaquea May. I was watching, you know, like Byron Nash. I was watching, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Funkyard X. I was like, you know, and it was like good. Like it was great, man.
Oh, that's actually, I have some of that footage as like footage I show. Cause I remember I only had one camera person for a couple of the big stage shows, and I would have her run to each camera. I'd be like, okay, do a pan. All right, I want to check the 3. I go 3, now run to 2, run to 2, and like we had it moving. And I remember I was editing, and I was like, I'm like, run to 2, run to 3, I'm cutting to 4. This is the greatest night ever. And Dave's like on the phone in the corner going, ah! You know?
No, man, it was
great.
It was
great.
Man, I watched those episodes. I watched that thing nonstop for like 3 months, man. So great job on that, and I appreciate your efforts in there.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate you a lot, Dave. I'm gonna say, like, we've been friends for a long time, and every time we have a conversation, I tell myself, like, I need to start calling this guy every day because we have really great conversations. But by the way, this is the Smart Haus. This is on the thepitts.company network. You can check us out at www.thepitts.company. It's endless amount of funny and informative content from Pittsburgh. We have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/thepitts. And you guys can watch us next week, who I believe we have a cool tech guest from the Pittsburgh Technology Council. So you guys check us out next week, and thanks for watching.